Dear student, it was 2020 June when I finished my 2.5 years of articleship life and began my CA final preparation. There were 8 subjects to be finished within those 4 months which were remaining for the November exam, and I had to finish the 8 subjects entirely. Of course, I had done preparation in the previous months, but it was never a full-fledged one. And I started studying, and it went on for 3.5 months, and I couldn't make a single revision or couldn't write a single mock test within these 3.5 months. Half a month was remaining. And my friend started telling, write mocks that would help you in clearing your finals. This phase was very crucial one, and I would like to tell exactly what happens at this phase. It was easy to tell that write mocks, it will help you, but I could not write. Today I sit here in front of you to tell you why I couldn't write and why many of you are not able to write mocks, even though you know what are the exact advantages of writing mocks. The reason is simple. We all are afraid of failing. And as the name suggests in mock test, the name itself tells mock. So we are not ready to mock ourselves. And that is the reason why we are not able to write mocks. We think that giving a final shot at the exam hall is far better than giving a kind of fake attempt here and getting less marks or actually failing. We are afraid to show our papers to someone else to correct because we think they might judge us and we may not be able to show our face to them. We are also afraid that we might judge ourselves that from so many months I am studying and I am achieving here 10 marks, 20 marks. And we feel that we will demoralize ourselves, we will demotivate ourselves, and we will give up on our dream. And that is the reason why we are not able to write mocks. Now let me tell you what is the advantages or why we need to write mocks and how it is better to fail now than fail in the exam. You might be worried looking at our thumbnail, fail your mocks. The reason why I am saying is not because I want you to fail your mocks. If you pass in your mocks, well and good, no worries at all. I think next time you will ace it up, you will get an exemption. But if you fail in your mocks, there is a high chance of you clearing in the real exam. The reason is simple. You are gaining a lot by writing mocks. I think you already know what are the advantages of writing mocks. Like maybe it boosts your confidence, you are able to perform well, and all of them. We will come to that individually and we will explain. But for now, try to write mocks even if you are going to fail, even if you feel that your preparation is not sufficient and you might get 10 or 20 out of 100. So coming back to what are the advantages, we will dive a little deeper into individual advantages. I will not list out, but I will be telling you why exactly we need to follow these mock tests. Few years back, maybe when you are writing your 10th or when you are writing your 12th, you have found something called preparatory exams. And normally these preparatory exams are conducted by the school or the college itself. The entire intention of writing this preparatory was to prepare you for the upcoming real exam. We had 3 preparatories in 10th standards and none of them could actually contribute to your final exam. I am telling in terms of marks, but in terms of the confidence, in terms of the preparation, they used to contribute a lot. And with this same idea, the colleges and schools have been conducting preparatory exam for some of the most important exams or milestone exams in our life. But when it comes to CA, we are not ready to do such a step even when we know that this is going to build our life. This is going to be one of the most important exam in our life, which is going to give us a designation which will live with us until we are alive. It is human tendency to avoid failures as far as possible. And that is the reason why we push mocks, because we do not want to fail. And if we were given an opportunity, we would push all the failures as far as possible because we do not want to see the face of failure. Just imagine all those situations when you are in an audience, when someone asks you to get up and give an answer. You would know the answer, but yet you are not able to get up. The reason is what others might think. Maybe when I go out, they might look at me and they may judge me. And this is the reason why we do not want to give our papers to someone else to correct it. So if you are afraid of such things, then you are the best teacher to correct that. Analyze your mistakes that you have done, and I am sure by now you know that no one actually cares what you do, because everyone has their own worries to take care of. So it is the right time to understand it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to fail in your mocks, as long as it helps you, it contributes you to pass in the real exam. You might know Thomas Alva Edison. He failed 10,000 times before he invented electric bulb, and today his name is forever written in the history. By this we understand that failure is the stepping stone for every success. Your CA curriculum is not as tough as you have to write 10,000 times to clear it. A proper 3 mocks is more than sufficient to clear any attempt, whether it is tough attempt or easy attempt in the CA exam. Firstly, when you write a mock, your confidence is boosted multifold. You might have heard practice is better than theory. With experience, you learn a lot better than just by looking at things or just by hearing what others have done. When you write a mock, you are day by day getting confident to face the real world challenge. When you write mock without your conscience, you will be able to do the same thing in the real exam better. The other advantage of writing mocks is you will be able to detect and correct your mistakes. We know that in our audit, we find a topic called error detection and correction. This similar topic applies to our mocks too. We can easily understand the topics or the concepts where we are making mistakes so that we may improve them and get a better result in the upcoming final exam. We have heard to err is human, but it's also important to learn from those errors. The exams, the mocks that you write will help you to detect these errors and correct them as soon as possible. There are 2 ways in which you can do that. Either you take a key which is already given by the maybe institute or the people who are conducting these exams, or you might ask others to correct those papers. There are CAs who will do that for you. There are other students who will do that for you. And I would say giving to others is a far better option than correcting yourself, because most of the time they are unbiased. When you correct your own paper, there is a good chance that you might get biased and you might give a little extra marks thinking that that is what happens in the real exam. You can also gauge your performance through mocks. Whenever we do something, whenever we have a goal, we will set certain milestones, and these milestones will have a specific timeline. And if you do not achieve that by specific timeline, we compare what was our goal, what was our expectation, and what is our reality. The mocks will help you to understand the expectation and the reality. You might be thinking that I have studied nicely, I know these topics, but when you actually present yourself on the paper, you might see a different truth. So these mocks will help you to understand the difference between the actual reality and the expectation. There are 2 types of imagination in human brain. One is synthetic imagination, another one is creative imagination. What is synthetic imagination? It is that form of imagination which comes only by experience. If you have done something previously, you tend to do the same thing easily in the future without even your conscience. When you write a mock and you have attempted a certain type of question, you are easily bound to give the same amount of the same quality of answer in the real exam, even if you are a little distracted in the exam hall. What is creative imagination? It is that form of imagination which comes automatically, which does not have a precedence, but you might have come across a situation where you are sitting in an exam hall and totally new question has come. You have no clue of such question, but yet somehow you start answering it and you end up giving a proper answer. This is called creative imagination, which does not come because you have done the similar thing before, but which comes because you have done something which has triggered such imagination. But to get these both imaginations, the first imagination, that is synthetic imagination, will help you to write an easier exam or an easy attempt where questions might be similar to what you have done or what have come earlier. And this creative imagination will help you to write those tough attempts where you might have come across a totally new question and you have no clue of handling that question, but yet you end up answering it. And why you are able to answer is because you have written mocks. This has triggered certain things in your brain, even without your conscience, have helped you to clear the exam. The other advantage is clarity of thinking. When we write your mock or when you do anything in practice, it is found that scientifically we tend to respond to a similar situation a little slower than in a hurry. It's all about being calm and think a little deeper before you actually put down your answer on the paper. Many a times we write the answer and then we realize maybe that is not what they asked, and then we go to correct ourselves. And we have very limited time. We have 180 minutes of time within which we have to show what we have learned. We have to show that we are worthy to clear this reputed examination. So to do that, we should have clarity of thinking. And this clarity of thinking comes only if you have found that patience, found that calmness when you write the exam. The other important advantage, which though not neglected, but yet we are not able to understand the gravity of it, is time management. I already told that we have 180 minutes. Let's dissect this 180 minutes a little further. In this 180 minutes, there is a normal loss of 5 to 10 minutes always, just for the sake of maybe distribution of papers or writing your name, writing all the details that are asked in the first page, or writing attendance on your admit card, or giving your papers back, or waiting for the additional papers. All in all, you will have at least 5 to 10 minutes of normal wastage in your 3 hours. So with the remaining 170 minutes divided by the 100 marks that you need to write, you will have effectively 1.7 minutes to write 1 mark of your exam. So let's take the example of our financial reporting paper. The first mandatory question of 20 marks. Considering 1.7 minutes per mark, we have 35 minutes to answer this first question of 20 marks. The most important one, mandatory question, which can set the course of entire exam, which can give you an impression whether you are a good student, whether you are a passing student or a failing student. And you have 35 minutes to write this particular question. So imagine, are you able to do that? The question itself runs for pages, and most of the time at least 10 minutes it takes to just read the question because it runs for pages. Now just think whether it is possible to write in 35 minutes one of the most important questions which sets the course for your entire exam. And that is the reason why time management becomes so crucial in your finals. And that is the reason you need to write mocks, because mocks are the only way in which you can cut down all the normal losses. When you write your mocks, you are able to manage your time well. It is because you will be able to achieve 2 things by writing mocks. One, speed, and secondly, accuracy. When you write mocks, you will slowly learn to write the answers quickly to finish those 100 marks within those 3 hours. And one of the biggest mistake most of the students that do currently is not writing 100 marks paper. It is not that they don't want to write 100 marks, it is just that they are not able to write 100 marks. And whenever we come out, we say that 3 hours are not sufficient to write 100 marks. The exams are not meant to be written fully. But that is not true. It is just that we are not able to write within the time given to us because there is no speed, there is no accuracy. There could be people who can write fast, but just because you can write fast, it doesn't mean that there is a logical flow to your answers. And this logical flow comes through mock test or writing the exam repeatedly before you give an actual attempt. Let's go to one more advantage of writing mocks, and this is, I think, by far the most important one, that is repetition of questions. The probability of getting a repeated question in the real attempt from the mock test that you have written is really high. I have seen many questions getting word to word getting repeated in the finals. This can happen in many ways. Either you have a direct questions coming from your previous mocks which have been published by ICI, or you might get a different question but the logic is same. So you will be able to understand which topics you need to cover through these mocks. These mocks will help you to understand what is the importance to the current exam that you are going to write. The mock which came 3 years back may not be that important for this current attempt, but the mock that you have just written, which has been published by the ICI, could have precious hints to write the real exam. And this is a proven method to make a selective study. I am not saying you have to make a selective study in CA Finance. Of course, that will not help you because you need to know 100% of the curriculum, but you can always prioritize your topics when the exams are near, because that is the time when you are filled with so much knowledge that you do not know which one to focus on. These mocks will help you to focus on these important areas so that you might deprioritize certain topics which may not come this time, or even if they come with a lower weightage. So let's see what is the moral of the story. It is simple. Make mistakes, explore, learn from your mistakes, and do not repeat them. At the end of the day, it's all about not repeating the mistakes that you have already done and not worry about the new mistakes that might come up in the real exam. Thank you everyone for making it till the end. I'll see you guys in the next one.